projects and add jobs. More from our Melissa Lopez.
From BBB to BBM, the Marcos administration rebrands the government-wide infrastructure push to build better, more. President Bongbong Marcos promised in his Monday SONA that Duterte-era projects will be retained while the list will be expanded. In a post-SONA briefing Tuesday, Public Works Secretary Manny Bonoan cited specifics: more expressways to connect Ilocos to Bicol in Luzon and cut travel time to 9 hours from the current 20 hours. More bridges across the Pasig and Marikina rivers to decongest roads in Metro Manila. Develop seaports, airports, and inter-island connectors, plus more and longer train lines. Unlike Duterte, Marcos is keen on more public-private partnerships this time around.
We will continue actually to entice the private sector to continue with our public-private partnership program in addressing actually all the necessary transport programs that are viable for the private sector.
The Transportation Department puts 7 railway projects at the center of its plans. 4 are in advanced stages: the Metro Manila Subway, the North-South Commuter Railway, the extension of the LRT Line 1 from Pasay to Cavite, and the MRT-7 line funded by San Miguel Corporation. Undersecretary Cesar Chavez says the Cebu, Panay, and Mindanao train systems will be up for review by the economic team.
Yes, we have the fiscal space. The Duterte administration is leaving us some easily 200 ready-to-implement projects.
We do not have to borrow as much as we did during the crisis years.
The Budget Department says infrastructure funding will increase every year to reach 2 trillion pesos by 2028, the end of Marcos's term. Economic managers count on this construction boom, once promised under Duterte, to drive economic growth between 6.5% to 8% in the next 6 years, reduce poverty, and cut public debt. The team wants prices contained and pandemic scars healed in the short term. Cabinet officials also commit to more business-friendly policies for more investments.
Creation of jobs actually would be done largely by the private sector. And we would like to really work in tandem with them.
The state of the economy is sound. So my advice to the private sector is trust your government. We're behind you.
Officials see manufacturing, IT, tourism, agriculture, mining, and the services sector as engines of growth. Melissa Lopez, CNN Philippines.
While senators vow to support President Marcos's 19 priority bills in his SONA, 2 of them found his speech lacking. Amor Santos tells us why.
President Bongbong Marcos wants Congress to pass 19 bills, right-sizing the bureaucracy, other tax reform packages, an e-governance system, and reverting mandatory ROTC training in senior high school, to name a few. Senate President Mig Zubiri calls the wish list comprehensive and feasible.
Kausap mo, Pinky, yung trabahador ng Senado. Kaya yan. We have to go through a fine-tooth comb with all these measures. Of course, the tax measures emanate from the House, and we're all willing to work 24/7.
Senator Sonny Angara says a number of the bills were tackled in previous Congresses, like budget reform and land use. Albay Representative Joey Salceda says 10 of these were passed on third reading in the House, so committee deliberations may not take long.
Well, I think basta nasama sa listahan ng Presidente, pag-uusapan yan sa LEDAC, pag-uusapan sa leadership ng mga dalawang kamara, so definitely na-enhance o lumalakas ang tsansa na maipasa.
But Minority Leader Coco Pimentel asks, what happened to prioritizing food security as Agriculture Secretary?
Sana at least majority doon o marami doon nakafocus like a laser on food production. Even the reorganization of the Department of Agriculture, kung kailangan yun, it should have been a priority legislative measure.
Pimentel also questions the silence on justice and human rights, contractualization, and federalism, which is the cause of Mr. Marcos's political party, Partido Federal. Senator Risa Hontiveros says she wanted to hear about anti-corruption efforts, something even the president's sister also hoped to hear. Hontiveros says the SONA sounded like a
Ang laki ng puhunan mo ngayon, paano ko naluwi ka?
The United Boiler Racers Association members say they have not returned to their pre-pandemic shipping structure.
Up to the end of this Congress. Welcome.
Previously at odds during the Duterte administration, Pimentel and Hontiveros say they will discuss differences in opinion. The two earlier filed their first resolution together, a call to free detained former Senator Laila de Lima. Amor Santos, CNN Philippines.
Over at the House of Representatives, Deputy Speaker Isidro Ungab says lawmakers can fast-track the president's priority measures by adopting an internal rule. Ungab cites Section 48 of the House rules that provides a shortcut for the passage of bills approved in the previous Congress. The rule states that a priority bill filed in the immediate preceding Congress and passed on third and final reading can be considered as, quote, disposed of at the committee level upon the approval of a majority of its members. This means there is no more need for committee meetings for priority bills, and they can be referred straight to the plenary.
Kung merong mga refinement na gagawin, well, pwede pa ihabol. But with the presentation of the President kahapon, it was a clear path and a direction that we could follow, and I believe it's both implementable and we will be able to come up or craft the necessary legislation that would expedite the implementation of these plans and programs of the President.
On to the House leadership. The son of President Marcos has been elected senior deputy majority leader despite being just on his first term as a congressman. Ilocos Norte Representative Sandro Marcos's designation was announced on the second day of the sessions. Sandro's uncle, later Representative Martin Romualdez, is Speaker of the House. Meanwhile, 4P's party list Representative Marcelino Libanan is the new House Minority Leader. Northern Sama Representative Paul Daza says members of the minority bloc elected Libanan yesterday. Libanan was one of Marcos's main supporters in Eastern Visayas during the campaign. COVID-19 cases in the country could reach as high as 19,000 daily by end August, but health officials say the figure may be less with better vaccination numbers. The lowest projection is at nearly 6,200 cases per day. Right now, new infections range between 2,000 and 3,000. While the uptrend in cases continues, Health Officer in charge Maria Rosario Vergere says she stands behind President Marcos's position against lockdowns.
In response to the President's directives, we've discussed this with him that yes, there won't be any lockdowns anymore. In spite of the continuous increase in the number of cases here in the country, we are seeing that the severe and critical cases are plateauing.
Malacanang earlier said it plans to revise the COVID-19 alert level system. The controversial vape bill lapses into law after the president failed to sign it as of yesterday. The measure lowers the age of those who can buy and use e-cigarettes from 21 to 18. Health and education officials and some medical groups strongly oppose the law, exposing the youth to harmful effects of vapes and e-cigarettes. The previous 21-year-old limit was based on the law regulating access to heated tobacco products. Higher taxes on vaping products are expected to provide funds for the universal healthcare program and other health facilities. Straight ahead on Newsnight, while experts laud President Marcos's independent foreign policy, they're calling for concrete action, especially on the maritime conflict with China. And authorities filed multiple complaints against the gunman in the fatal shooting at the Ateneo de Manila University over the weekend. You're watching CNN Philippines.
SMC, San Miguel Corporation. Bisag unsang industriya ang sudlan niini, tinguha sa SMC ang pag-uswag o paglambo sa mga Pilipino. Karon, gikan sa SMC, aniya na ang SMC Davao Cement. SMC Davao Cement, gama sa Davao para sa Mindanao. SMC Davao Cement, ato ni Bay. SMC, San Miguel Corporation. Bisag unsang industriya ang sudlan niini, tinguha sa SMC ang pag-uswag o paglambo sa mga Pilipino. Karon, gikan sa SMC, aniya na ang SMC Davao Cement. SMC Davao Cement, gama sa Davao para sa Mindanao. SMC Davao Cement, ato ni Bay.
Ito ang RPN, Radio Philippines Network, DXKT 1071 sa inyong mga radyo, ang Radyo Ronda sa Davao.
This is CNN Philippines. For progressive groups, President Marcos's first State of the Nation address was lacking or not enough, not just because of the issues they said he left out, but also because of how he addressed some concerns. Anjo Alimario filed this report.
I know this in my mind. I know it in my heart. I know it in my very soul. The state of the nation is sound.
This is nothing but a fairy tale, quip some progressive groups.
Kailangan lang niya kasi lumabas sa Malacanang, makihalubilo sa ordinaryong tao. I mean, these government officials, marami sa talaga sa kanila, parang napaka-detached o napakalutang, napakalayo, no, dun sa dinaranas ng mamamayan.
A leader should lead by example, Kilusang Mayo Uno points out.
May utang kang buwis sa mamayang Pilipino at sa gobyerno. Bayaran mo muna yung buwis na yan.
For teachers group, the president has little sense of urgency. That's why degrading his SONA with, pun intended, needs a lot of improvement.
Wala nga pong detalye kung paano matitiyak yung kaligtasan ng pagbabalik ng paaralan. O kaya yung matagal na kahilingan ng taas ng sahod. O bigyan man lang ng budget yung mga benepisyo ng kagaruan dahil sa sobra-sobrang pagtatrabaho nito. No?
A students' organization fears the mandatory ROTC will be used for power tripping.
Pinakamasahol, nakakakalulungkot na nakita natin na epekto ng ROTC ay yung hazing at yung umahantog pa nga sa pagkamatay at sa matinding karahasan laban sa mga estudyante.
Attendees have given the president a standing ovation when he talked about building specialty hospitals in the regions. But for frontliners, he must first address the root cause of understaffing in health facilities.
Dagdag tayo ng manpower kung magtatayo ng mga hospitals po, sana wag muna yun ang unahing i-focus, idagdagan muna ang sahod ng ating mga health workers bago siya magpatayo ng mga specialty hospital.
Gabriela is not at all impressed with the president's view on violence against women. It feels it should go beyond mere counseling.
Kung susolusyonan yung matinding kahirapan, matinding gutom, kawalang trabaho, na nagtutulak sa mga kababaihan na maging biktima ng karahasan at exploitation, sexual exploitation.
As for issues apparently left out such as human rights, corruption, and peace, Bayan says it's either President Marcos wants to avoid controversies or it's just not his priority. Anjo Alimario, CNN Philippines.
The National Defense Department supports some of the priority bills put forth by President Marcos during his SONA. The DND says the proposal to revive the Reserved Officers Training Corps, or ROTC, in senior high school will greatly enhance efforts to involve the youth in national defense preparedness and response. The department also backs amendments to the National Defense Act, as well as a unified system of separation, retirement, and pension for military and uniformed personnel. And the DND says it will follow the direction set by President Marcos to build stronger relations with other nations, but without compromising sovereignty. For the DND, the president was firm in a statement. He will not abandon an inch of the country's territory to any foreign power. President Marcos swore to protect the country's territory while reiterating that the Philippines will remain a friend to all, enemy to none. Find out what experts are saying in this report by Tristan Nadalo.
I will not preside over any process that will abandon even 1 square inch of territory of the Republic of the Philippines to any foreign power.
The president is unequivocal. He will not waver in defending the country's territory.
With respect to our place in the community of nations, the Philippines shall continue to be a friend to all, an enemy to none.
The commitment is anchored on the so-called independent foreign policy, and that dialogue and consensus building are the ways to resolve conflicts.
We hope to see necessary steps being taken in pursuit of such a strong and bold opening statement.
Another expert says an independent foreign policy is a delicate balancing act since the Philippines is in a strategic and vital location in the region.
There are also caveats and dangers. This is expensive in a way that in terms of rhetoric, it's very nice to hear about it, but when you implement it properly, this is a little bit scheming because, of course, we have defense treaty alliance with the United States, and also we are forging a stronger partnership with China and some other emerging great powers.
There was no mention of the 2016 arbitral ruling and the West Philippine Sea dispute in the president's first State of the Nation address, while another analyst says President Bongbong Marcos's remarks were carefully crafted.
It's not really politically safe at this time, to qualify or to insert the arbitral award. The immediate follow-up was that we will remain close friends or partners with everyone else. So there's that balancing act in the SONA.
Former Foreign Affairs Secretary Terry Locsin Jr. says the friend to all, enemy to none policy is not new, but it has been effective in managing the situation in the region. He adds the Marcos administration may reopen talks with China on joint oil and gas exploration, but it should make sure these are within constitutional limits. To help President Marcos realize his vision of an independent foreign policy, experts agree that the country must have a credible defense system and make sure to spell out the country's national interests while engaging with two global superpowers, the United States and China. Tristan Nadalo, CNN Philippines.
In other news, the Anti-Graft Court has denied a government appeal on the dismissal of a civil case filed against the family of President Marcos. In a 12-page ruling issued on July 22nd, the Sandigan Bayan's 4th Division affirmed its initial decision, finding the Presidential Commission on Good Government failed to back its claims by evidence or with evidence. The case sought to recover a total of 200 billion pesos of alleged ill-gotten wealth from the Marcoses. It was initially dismissed in 2019, but the government filed an appeal. Former Sandigan Bayan 4th Division Chairman Justice Alex Quiroz penned the decision. Malacanang announced Saturday President Marcos appointed Quiroz as chairman of the Governance Commission for Government-Owned and Controlled Corporations, a body which oversees the quality of managing state-owned companies. The gunman in the fatal shooting at the Ateneo de Manila University in Quezon City faces more charges, this time from police. Chrissy Limatulak with this update.
The Quezon City Police District has filed a string of complaints against Dr. Chow Chow Yumol, the identified gunman in the shooting in Ateneo last Sunday, which took the lives of 3 people. Yumol was charged with 3 counts of murder and frustrated murder in relation to Section 29 of RA 10591, or the Comprehensive Firearms and Ammunition Regulation Act, violation of RA 10883 or the New Carnapping Act of 2016, and malicious mischief amounting to 80,000 pesos. The cases were filed before the Quezon City Prosecutor's Office on Monday evening. Meantime, Lamitan Basilan Mayor Oric Furigay is still in Manila to organize the wake of his wife, who was the target of humol in the shooting. He recalled that they were only a few cars away from his wife and their daughter Hannah, who was about to graduate.
Mga 500 meters lang kami na traffic kami. No? Mga 5 or 6 vehicles kami na naman. They went directly to this yung sa may Arete building. Kami naman sinenyasan kami ng security guard na to park our car yung sa parking area. So doon namin nakita nung nag-scamper na yung mga tao, the parents, mga graduates.
According to Furigay, the feud between his wife and Yumol started in 2019, when his wife, who was mayor at the time, issued a cease and desist order on Yumol's clinic.
Ang Ministry of Health naman, they found out na he is operating illegally, walang lisensya. So he was advised to get the permit to operate. Hindi rin niya na-comply. The farm government, through the Ministry of Health, issued the cease and desist order para hindi siya mag-operate.
Their daughter Hannah was also wounded in the incident. According to her father, Hannah was greatly traumatized by the ordeal, as she saw up close what happened to her mother. The Furigay family plans to take the remains of the former mayor back to Basilan this week. Other than the former mayor, her executive assistant Victor Capistrano and Ateneo security guard Henipen Bandiala were also killed. A donation drive was recently launched by the Ateneo community for Bandiala. The university said that it is extending financial assistance to Bandiala's loved ones following the tragedy. The Ateneo Law School's graduating class also launched their own donation drive to help the slain security guard's family. Chrissy De Matulak, CNN Philippines.
Ateneo is also holding a mass for Bandiala on Friday. Rival school, the De La Salle University, expressing solidarity with Ateneo in praying for the victims and their loved ones. La Salle also says it is praying for justice to be served and for violence to end. The police say one of the guns used during the shooting belongs to a member of the Philippine Army. The .45 caliber pistol owned by a certain First Lieutenant Jeremy Aquino went missing in the province of Sulu back in 2019 based on records of the Firearms Explosives Office. Another gun used, a 9mm pistol, belonged to the shooter himself. We're bringing you more news after the break. What is Olympic pole vaulter E.J. Obiena setting his sights on next after a historic podium finish at the World Athletics Championships? Plus, another gold for Heidelin Diaz, but this time on her finger. Updates on the Filipino weightlifter's wedding next.
SMC, San Miguel Corporation. Bisag unsang industriya ang sudlan niini, tinguha sa SMC ang pag-uswag o paglambo sa mga Pilipino. Karon, gikan sa SMC, aniya na ang SMC Davao Cement. SMC Davao Cement, gama sa Davao para sa Mindanao. SMC Davao Cement, ato ni bay. SMC, San Miguel Corporation. Bisag unsang industriya ang sudlan niini, tinguha sa SMC ang pag-uswag o paglambo sa mga Pilipino. Karon, gikan sa SMC, aniya na ang SMC Davao Cement. SMC Davao Cement, gama sa Davao para sa Mindanao. SMC Davao Cement, ato ni bay.
Ito ang RPN, Radio Philippines Network, DXKT 1071 sa inyong mga radyo, ang Radyo Ronda sa Davao.
Welcome back to Newsnight. Sports news first. EJ Obiena makes history in pole vault yet again, earning the Philippines' first medal in the World Athletics Championships. But as Pauline Versosa tells us, the 26-year-old has more plans to bring glory to the country on the world stage.
Another Asian and national record has been set by Filipino pole vault sensation EJ Obiena. On Monday, the 26-year-old cleared 5.94 meters to clinch the bronze in the World Athletics Championships held in Eugene, Oregon, USA. Obiena is the first ever Filipino to get a medal in the prestigious competition.
I think it just solidified what I already knew I am capable of, which is, competing with the best in the world.
Obiena has churned out his best performance yet despite encountering major setbacks, including a months-long controversial rift with Patafa and a battle with COVID-19 last month.
I'm very thankful that I didn't listen to those words that said, no, just give up. I'm proud of that. I'm proud that I stick around, and I'm proud that I am able to do what I did.
Following another historic feat, the Tokyo Olympian says he's determined to get even better, especially with the playing field getting tougher and fiercer, as world number 1 Armand Duplantis of Sweden shattered his own world record at 6.21 meters. Obiena's next goal, to finally clear the 6-meter mark.
There's only 24 people who have done that in the history, and I want to be the 25th. And I'm very happy that the sport is progressing. Of course, I'm very happy that I'm part of the era where, the level of pole vaulting is in such a high level. But at the same time, it just shows that, I need to work a lot harder to reach the things that I want to do and to win the championship that I want to win.
Congratulatory messages have poured online for the reigning Asian record holder. Obiena is set to compete in 2 more international competitions in Poland and Hungary next month. Pauline Versosa, CNN Philippines.
Another big day for weightlifting champ Heidelin Diaz, exactly a year after clinching the country's first Olympic gold medal. Heidelin and her coach Julius Naranjo tied the knot today in Baguio City. Former Vice President Lenny Robredo and boxing icon Manny Pacquiao are among the wedding's principal sponsors. The couple got engaged last October, a few months after Diaz won at the 2020 Tokyo Olympics in July. Now in music, the UK will take over as host of the 2023 Eurovision Song Contest on behalf of Ukraine. Ukrainian band Kalush Orchestra won in 2022, meaning its home country would have hosted the next event. But because of Russia's war in the nation, the duty was passed to the UK as runner-up. Organizers say they will work with host broadcaster BBC to include Ukrainian elements of shows. Adele is ready to step into the Las Vegas limelight, announcing new dates for residency in the U.S. city. 24 rescheduled shows will run from November 18th to March 23rd, and she added 8 performances. In January, the singer postponed her residency at Caesar's Palace because half her team caught COVID-19. The move was met with disappointment from fans, with some flying in for her shows. And that is it for tonight. Join me again on News.ph at 7 p.m. I'm Pia Hontiveros for Newsnight, where we go above and beyond the headlines.